Muted, unmuted, muted, muted, unmuted. Here we're going. All right. What are we doing tonight? Law of success. We're probably just going to do Mondays and Tuesdays. And I may do other things during the day that y'all can join in on so that y'all have your evenings free and you can still watch recordings and stuff. Stop that. Stop over there. Put this into speaker mode. Speaker. All righty. So yesterday we talked about session 3, self-confidence. Oh, wow. They were sanding outside and they just started up the sander and it sounded like a car starting up that went into super high RPMs, which had me a little nervous. Anyways. Welcome to the mind of Sean Murphy. Here we go. Am I taking my hat off? I need to take my glasses off. I don't see any better or worse with my hat on. All right. Here we finished up yesterday with the 6 basic fears: poverty, old age, criticism, loss of love of someone, ill health, and death. And then we need to study and take the inventory. We talked a little bit about that yesterday. Hey, Dub. And for those of you watching on YouTube, I'm here at the ranch and we have animals that come in and out of my office, mostly 4-legged dogs. Haven't had a chicken come through the dog door yet. So here we go. All that man is. This is physical and social heredity. This is important. Physical and social heredity. First of all, give me some feedback. What does that mean to you? If any of you can chat. What do you think social heredity means?
What we inherit from our culture.
Yes, from our culture, from the way where you were raised, right? My parents were born in Yonkers, New York, or born in New York, and I was born in Yonkers, but raised in Ohio. So I did different things. I did things differently based upon the culture of Ohio. Was raised on a farm, did things wildly different than my parents ever thought about doing. Mason was raised in the city. He would hear about once a week as he got older, and then sometimes more a day. When I was on the farm, because he grew up in the city. So yes, there's a lot of social heredity. And that's what this is going to, we're going to go into a little bit deeper here in this chapter, in this section on that. So any questions, comments, or thoughts? Jimmy time. Okay. All that man.
Sorry,
Yes,
Sean,
please.
what
No, please.
what page are you on?
Page 94 in the big blue book.
Oh, I don't think I have. Okay, I'll find it. Thank you.
It is, it's actually the start of section 3, self-confidence, lesson 3, self-confidence. And then we just got done with the 6 basic fears, and we're on to the next part that is social and physical and social heredity. Got it? Cool. Awesome. Awesome. Here we go. Buckle up. Lock your hat in. All that man is, both physically and mentally, he came through 2 forms of heredity. One is known as physical heredity. The other is called social heredity. There, through the law of physical heredity, man is slowly evolved from the amoeba, the single-celled animal form, through stages of development corresponding to all the known animal forms now on Earth, including those which are known to have existed but are now extinct. Every generation through which man has passed has added to his nature something of the traits, habits, and physical appearances, the physical appearance of that generation. How many times have we heard of the saber-toothed tiger? Right? Especially when we're talking about self-talk. We talk about the fire in the room, the elephant in the room. Why do we talk about the elephant in the room? I don't know that you've ever been in a room with an elephant. But the thought of being in a room with now, if you listen to Maureen Murphy today and you read her little notes, she was with gorillas and chimpanzees and all kinds of things today. But this idea that we're afraid of the saber-toothed tiger because it's the fight or flight. Do you think when we were in the Garden of Eden, this doesn't particularly bend to that phenomenon because we go from single cell amoeba, but if we were talk about the Garden of Eden, did we have a fear until such time ego came in? Whole nother story, whole nother training. Every generation through which man has passed has added to his nature something of the traits, habits, and physical appearance of that generation. Man's physical inheritance, therefore, is the heterogeneous collection of many habits and physical forms. There seems little, if any, doubt that while the 6 basic fears of man could not have been inherited through physical heredity. Hey, hang on. What? There seems little, if any, doubt that while the 6 basic fears of man could not have been inherited through physical heredity, these 6 basic fears being mental states of mind and therefore not capable of transition through physical heredity, it is obvious that through physical heredity, a most favorable lodging place of these 6 fears has been provided. Don't you just hate when they velvet glove you? We have this. Go ahead.
Sorry, are they saying that the 6 basic fears were not through physical hereditary?
No, but the physical heredity has given it a nice lodging place for it because it's all mental. Right? There seems little, if any, doubt that while the 6 basic fears could not have been inherited through physical heredity, it is obvious that through physical heredity, a most favorable lodging place of these 6 fears has been provided, because it says these 6 basic fears being mental states of mind and therefore not capable through physical transmission, physical heredity. For example, it is a well-known fact that the whole process of physical evolution is based upon death, destruction, pain, and cruelty. Where do I sign up for that? That the elements of the soil and the earth find transportation and their upward climb through evolution is based upon the death of one form of life in order for another and higher form, in order that another and higher form may subsist. All vegetation lives by eating the elements of the soil and the elements of the air. All forms of life live by eating some other and weaker form or some form of vegetation. The cell, here we go. Now, this one I don't know if it's this part that's coming up that is kind of, oh, snap kind of moment, but I think it is. So here we go. The cells of all vegetation have a very high order of intelligence, right? They're saying all plants, grasses, everything else has a high level of intelligence. The cells of animal life likewise have very high order of intelligence. Hang on to this. Buckle up. Y'all buckled up? Nod your head. This is going to get big if you haven't read it already. Undoubtedly, the animal cells of a fish have learned out of bitter experience that a group of animals cells known as fish hawk, listen, that a group of animal cells known as a fish hawk, the bird, are to be greatly feared. So a fish, a group of cells, has learned that another group of cells in an organized fashion, what is power? Organized order, right? So the fish hawk has organized order to fly. The fish has organized order, power to swim. So this group of cells, known as a fish, fears another group of cells called the fish hawk. Got it? Here we go. This is so good. By reason of the fact that many animal forms, including that of most men, live by eating a smaller and weaker animals, the cell intelligence of these animals which enter into and become a part of the man brings with it the fear growing out of the experience of having been eaten alive? Somebody tell me what you learned. What do you hear?
I don't know if I'm buying this one.
Why not? Okay, but this is where I'm saying. So if you eat if you do you eat healthy food? What healthy food do you eat?
Are you like a
Yeah.
certain vegetable or any?
Vegetable or salad or something or what?
Sure. Cucumbers.
Cucumbers. So do the cucumbers go into your body and come out as cucumbers?
Nope.
They transform.
Well, some people. Anyway,
Right.
we won't go in there. But right.
Right?
Mhm.
Corn. Till we see again. The idea of a cucumber goes into your body and your body breaks it down. Doesn't it break it
Yeah.
down to cellular level? And then inside the cells of the cucumber, doesn't it have to break the cells down and take out of it what makes the cucumber phytonutrient rich, whatever it is?
Yeah.
Is the cucumber in a state when it shows up?
Of course.
Okay. You know the story of Massimo Emoto? Message
The
in
water
water?
guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cucumber have any water in it?
Yep.
If somebody yelled at the cucumber before it went into your body, did it change state? If you were
Yep.
if you were cooking and you were mad when you were cooking, yelling at Nate, or laughing with the boys, or arguing with the boys, would you just go put your stuff away while you're cutting the cucumbers up for the salad?
All right.
Isn't it true? I mean, isn't that science? Now, when you sit down and say blessing over the food, doesn't that also transform it?
Which is why it's so important. Yep.
To bless.
Yep.
If the food is in the refrigerator next to something that's bad, does it pick up the energy?
It could. Yeah.
What do you mean it could? You know it does. Don't tell me it could. It can't not.
Right.
It has to. So if a cow is killed and killed in such a way that it's scared to death, isn't the fear in the cells? Right?
Wow.
We
Yep.
all say this. There's a joke that goes around. A guy goes and knocks on the door. He says, "Hey, mister, do you own a cat?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I think I hit it." He said, "Really? What did it look like?" Right? That's what it looked like before you hit it,
Yeah.
just in case. I couldn't see your faces. So did the fear not get trapped at death in the cat?
Wow. Hmm.
If you got eaten by a bear, wouldn't they find you a little bit scared in your cells? Oh, finally
Yeah.
a bear. Oh, it's like sand in my toes. Probably not.
Actually, and then you think about like deer hunting, right? If we've chased deer for too long, you don't want to shoot it because it's not going to taste as good. Wow. Okay. Well, you're just changing my view on lots of things. Thanks.
We used to have our cows, and every time we'd eat one, we'd say, "Oh my God, we scared this. We ran it up from Mexico and scared it to death." That's how tough the meat was.
Hmm.
So wouldn't it make sense to grow your own garden? And have a little Jordan running around in there with happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy.
Hmm.
Which again, now you can tenderize the meat. That's because you got to take the scare out of it. or just ate crappy. Which is why good music should always be playing. Blessing should always be playing. Words of affirmation should always be playing. You're watching the news. You ready? You ready? Hang on, Buttercup. You're watching the news while you're cooking dinner. Forget it. If you're a little politically sensitive and you're making your smoothie, sorry, you may as well go eat dirt.
Dirt would probably be better.
Dirt would probably be better. So everything is a vibration. Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
And if everything is a vibration, isn't everything looking to vibrate in harmony with whatever the dominating vibration is?
Mm-hmm.
AKA brain talk. Why self-talk doesn't even work. Well, I said I'm a happy person. You should tell your face. You should tell your face. You should. You should. Yeah. I'm a happy person. And then smile. When I'm driving home with the groceries from Walmart probably isn't the best place to get your groceries, but that's all we got. There's some just miserable people who walk into Walmart. All of them. But there's not enough joyous people to offset the miserable people. So when I go into Walmart, I front the shelf. Do you know what fronting is? You take whatever, if there's all of it, and then what, and you pull that one. And I'm loving the ketchup and the mustard, and I'm doing all the ones up top. Oh my gosh, hi, how are you? It's so good. And I'm standing there, and people are walking by. They want to ask me where something is, but I ain't wearing a blue Walmart jersey. But I'm fronting the shelves, and I'm looking at, and I'm the things that we use. I'm not selfish to not go front the Tom Hortons vinaigrette dressing. I just don't use it. So I go front the shelves, and I probably don't get my stuff back, but I put an echo on that shelf so that when they do put my stuff there, it's in a good place. How's that for cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs?
That's really interesting.
Isn't it just, yeah, okay. Remember, I'm outstanding. I do it for my world. I do it for when Mason goes, and he's a lot less embarrassed now, or nervous, or self-conscious to go get stuff. But there's certain things that we use. Sun-dried tomatoes. I know where that shelf is. I now know where the shelf is. I know where to go find it. And there's balsamic vinegar, and there's other sun-dried tomatoes, and there's this, and I just go, boogity, 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 boo. I love you. I love you. I love you. Because they don't normally run out. I do it down every aisle. You know how else I do it? I tell the people, thank you for shopping for us. I don't know if you've ever picked out my groceries, but I just want to say they were the best tasted, and I've never used the shopping, but I want to make them feel good, because when they go down the aisle, they're putting energy into my stuff. Y'all good with this? Kinnick has left the building. The cells of all vegetation have a high order of intelligence. The cells of all animal life likewise have a very high order of intelligence. Undoubtedly, the animal cells of a fish have learned out of bitter experience that the group of animal cells known as a fish hawk are to be greatly feared by reason of the fact that many animal forms, including that of most men and women, live by eating the smaller and weaker animals. The cells intelligence of those animals which enter into and become part of the man, bring with it the fear growing out of the experience of having been eaten alive. This theory may seem to be far-fetched, but in fact it may not, and in fact may not be true, but it is at least a logical theory if it is nothing more. The author makes no practical point of this theory, nor does he insist that it accounts for any of the 6 basic fears. There is another and much better explanation of the source of these fears, which we will proceed to examine, beginning with the description of social heredity. By by far the most important part of man's makeup comes to him through the law of social heredity. This term having reference to the methods by which one generation imposes upon the minds of the generation under its immediate control, and the superstitions, beliefs, legends, and ideas legends and ideas, which it in turn inherited from generation preceding. So if there is a belief, let's go back to the animal cells. If there's a belief about a particular culture, right? I was raised up north. Southerners are slow. I got down south. Southerners aren't slow, right? It's just because they talk slow, right? New Yorkers are obnoxious. True. Not always the case, though. But if you have these beliefs, they have to reside somewhere in you and cause you to have a neuroencoding, right? There's some people who are deathly afraid of Black people. They just have this, there's no evidence of it. It's a belief. Short people might be afraid of tall people. All of these things enter into our body and they create a form of vibration in our body. And when we say things like, I am happy, I have a great relationship with money, the social heredity is what keeps you from believing that. Because you want to have a good relationship with money. You don't want to hate money, disparage money, have a disdain for it, think that it's difficult to get, all of these things. But if you think it's difficult to get and I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, I'll never make $100,000 a month. Are you kidding? Like, that's ridiculous. Says who? What's not you. It's whoever programmed you. And somebody comes along and says, we're going to get to 6 figures in a year. What would change if you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that every month you were, by the end of 12 months from today, August 21st, 2025, you would be at 6 figures in a month? In the positive. What would change? You're going to be at 100K a month in 12 months.
Your state would change. Your life would change.
Your life would change. And when would it start? When would it need to change? When would it need to begin the transformation? When would you need to go into the chrysalis and become the cat and become the butterfly?
Immediately.
Yeah, you'd have to start building the chrysalis, wouldn't you? And then you would go through a metamorphosis. You wouldn't recognize you. The challenge is, here's the challenge. You can't get to 100K in your mind right now.
No.
You can get to 5K. And the brain is capable of doubling. That's kind of that's the threshold. That's the upper limit threshold. That's why people who win the lottery do what? Lose the lottery. So if you can get to 5K, then what's the next one? 10K. This is doubling a penny. 10K, get to 20K, 20K. So let's just say 10K, get to 5K, takes us 60 days from now. Some of you may already have been at 5K. Some of you all might already be at 5K, but 5K, so that's 60 days. 10K, 60 days. We're at 4 months. We're at 10K in 4 months, right? 60 days. No, 60 days, 30, yeah, 4 months. We go from 10K to 20K in another 2 months. Oh, well, now that's getting crazy. We're just doubling. There's no more effort to go from 5 to 10 than 10 to 20. Y'all follow me? We're at 6 months now. 20 to 40. 8 months. 40 to 80. 10 months. Which means your business needs to be one of scalability. Can you create a business that's scalable? The best way to create a scalable business is through training and coaching and speaking. the knowledge-based business that Dean Graziosi and Tony talk about all the time. To become so good at a particular niche that that's why I've coined and labeled and trademarked Brain Talk. I'm going to be the Brain Talk guy, not the self-talk guy, the Brain Talk guy. I've got my demographics, 20 to 30, 30 to 50, 50 and above. That's one set of demographics. Then there's the female brain, right? 20 to 30, 20 to 30, 30 to 50, 50 to and plus. There's the male brain, 20 to 30, 30 to 50, 50 to 60. Now, I need to market to them because that's what they need something for. I need it for my niche, but they're all part of a psychographic. It's why we can have somebody who's 70 on here and somebody who's 17. They're like, man, this is cool stuff. So what's going to be your niche? Your rich is in the niche, not shotgun into everything. Empty nesters in the first two, pre-empty nesters and post-empty nesters. 3 years before, 5 years after. Where do most divorces from empty nesters happen? I bet I Googled it, I'd find a statistic. Most families have their kids young. It's the midlife crisis. He goes, gets this, she goes, gets that. And all of a sudden they're off on their own. Because it's so easy to divorce today. We'll just go as friends. We'll just part as friends. And they'll live in the same house. Anyways, it's cool. Questions, comments, thoughts? We're rattling the brain. Okay. The term social heredity, page 95, the term social heredity should be understood to mean any and all sources through which a person acquires knowledge, such as schooling of religious and all other natures, reading, word of mouth conversation, storytelling, and all manner of thought inspiration coming from what is generally accepted as one's personal experiences. Thought through the operation of the law of social heredity, anyone having control over the mind of the child may, through intense teaching, plant in the child's mind any idea, whether false or true, in such a manner that the child accepts it as true and it becomes as much a part of the child's personality as any cell or organ of its physical body, and just as hard to change in its nature. I want my heart to be my kidney. You could do that. I mean, I'm good. I don't know if you're that good. Does that make sense? So, and who knows the years? Who knows the years at which our brains become pretty much organized? Do you know what age that happens for men, for women and boys, for guys and gals?
Well, by the age of 7, you've already have set ideas and beliefs and all those.
You've got a personality.
Yeah.
That then spends the next 18 years till about the age of 25 becoming formalized. And at 25 for men and 26 or 27 for women, the brain is like, all right, we're locked in, but you do get most of your personality by the age of 7.
Yeah.
And then either confirm or deny, right? So if I'm 7 and growing up in Arkansas and then all of a sudden move to China, I'll probably learn Chinese. But if I'm 25 and move to Taiwan, I may not learn Thai. I'll pick up something, but I'll usually hang out in the places where I can speak English. Right? These are just the norms. Man, I wish I would have learned Spanish better. And I'm glad I went to Puerto Rico. I would have never learned to know Spanish.
And when
Yeah.
you talk about the law of social hereditary, my grandson's a good example of that because his mother tells him things and it's like, where did you get that? And he truly does believe it, and it's not true. But because his mother told him, so yeah, I've had some discussions with him about certain things.
Yep.
It's interesting.
It's fascinating, isn't it? And you can tell through neuroencoding, they really believe it. Right? This is what they teach CIA and all of those people, how to pass a lie detector test. It's all about telling yourself a story. The mind of a child which has not come into the age of general understanding during the average period covering, let's say, the first 2 years of the life, is plastic, open and clean. Any idea planted in such a mind by one whom the child has confidence takes root and grows, so to speak, in such a manner that it never can be eradicated or wiped out, no matter how opposed to logic or reasoning it may be. I think all of you that are on here know the story. When Mason was being nannied, we told him you can't say no. No is a decision. You are required to say stop because he's not capable of a decision. He's only doing actions. And I don't want him to fear decision making. Many religionists claim that they can so deeply implant the tenets of their religion in the mind of a child that there can never be room in the mind of any in in any other religion, either whole or part. Listen, I was raised Catholic. I don't know what religion you are, but if you ain't Catholic, you were going to hell. You were going to hell. And I couldn't sit next to you on the bus, you heathen. These claims are not greatly overdrawn. With this explanation of the manner in which the law of social heredity operates, the student will be ready to examine the sources from which man inherits the 6 basic fears. Moreover, any student, except those who have not yet grown big enough to examine truth that steps upon the pet corns, right? You're talking about the things that hurt on your feet, your pet corns, of their own superstitions, may check the soundness of the principle of social heredity as it is applied here to the 6 basic fears without going outside of his or her own personal experiences. Fortunately, particularly the entire mass of evidence submitted in this lesson is of such a nature that all who sincerely seek the truth may ascertain for themselves whether the evidence is sound or not. For the moment, at least, lay aside your prejudices and preconceived ideas. You may go back and pick them up again, while the study of the origin and nature of the 6 worst enemies, the 6 basic fears, begins with the fear of poverty. It requires courage to tell the truth about the origin of this fear, and still greater courage, perhaps, to accept the truth after it has been told. The fear of poverty grew out of man's inherited tendency to prey upon his fellow man economically. Nearly all forms of lower animals have instinct but appear not to have the power to reason and think. Therefore, they prey upon one another physically. Man, with a superior sense of intuition, thought, and reason, does not eat his fellow man bodily. He gets more satisfaction out of eating him financially. All of the ages of the world of which we know anything, the age in which we live seems to be the age of money worship. A man is considered less than the dust of the earth unless he can display a fat bank account. Nothing brings man so much suffering and humiliation as does poverty. No wonder man fears poverty. Through a line of inherited experiences, man has learned with the man animal, man has learned for certain that this animal cannot always be trusted where matters of money and other evidences of earthly possessions are concerned. Many marriages have their beginning, and oftentimes their endings, solely on the basis of wealth possessed by one or both of the contracting parties. It's no wonder that the divorce courts are busy. Society could have properly spelled society with the S being a dollar sign, because it is inseparable inseparably associated with the dollar mark. So eager is man to possess wealth that he will acquire it in whatever manner he can, through legal methods if possible, through other means if necessary. The fear of poverty is a terrible thing. A man may commit murder, engage in robbery, rape and all other manners of violation of the rights of others, and still regain a high station in the minds of his fellow men, providing that he does not lose his wealth. Poverty, therefore, is a crime. Poverty, therefore, is a crime, an unforgivable sin, as it were. Look at the gangsters. They still had great notoriety. Look at the gangs, right? I mean, you're the kingpin if you got, if you've put a couple of people under, you laid some caps to them or whatever, however you'd say it. I don't know what I'm talking about. No wonder man fears it. Every statute book in the world bears evidence that the fear of poverty is one of the 6 basic fears of mankind. For in every such book of laws may be found various and sundry laws intended to protect the weak from the strong. To spend time trying to prove either that the fear of poverty is one of man's inherited fears, or that this fear has its origin in man's nature to cheat his fellow man, would be similar to trying to prove that 3 times 2 are 6. Obviously, no man would ever fear poverty if he had any grounds for trusting his fellow man, and there is food and shelter and remnant and luxury of every nature sufficient for the needs of every person on earth. All of these blessings would be enjoyed by every person except for the swinish habit that man has of trying to push all the other swine out of the trough, even after he has all or more than he needs. Conversations on the 6 basic fears. On the fear of poverty. We're ending there for the evening, so open Q&A. 27. This is why you need psyche. This is why you need brain talk.
That's why fear of poverty is such a huge, huge thing for people.
And the fear of poverty is such that we don't want, it goes back to Dorothea Brand. If you don't tell me about how poor you are, I won't tell you how poor I am, and I won't make fun of you if you don't make fun of me. We're wired to fail. What's the percentage? I don't know. It's a ridiculous number of people who live paycheck to paycheck. If something happened catastrophic, I think most people couldn't sustain a $800 unexpected expense. Hello? Who you call? Beamish, go. Go on. Beamish, go. Go outside. Go. Out. Go on. Good boy.
That's why so many people lost their homes over COVID.
Yep.
They weren't prepared.
And we had a great boom in our profession. But funny how Is that for me? W. Dub. They're all getting bones. So I'm just waiting for the fun and the pandemonium. Yes, they weren't prepared. And how many times I'm glad that the government tried to bail people out and give them checks and stuff. But come on, we got to get better than that. So part of the education is to start to educate people to be a little bit wiser. Don't have them join you in your business. Have them join you in the ability to create a savings account. Speak to them in a hard, simple fact. Listen, so what I would say, and when I would talk to professionals, and I was talking to the guys who were creating an income, even if it was a double income family, I would say, so you die, does your wife step in and take over your job tomorrow? No. So, well, that's what I have insurance for. You got enough? I'm not selling you insurance. I could, but I'm not selling you insurance. How long will that go? Is there enough to pay off? Listen, and if you've got all that, you should go tomorrow. Or figure out a way to create some additional residual income so that you can be prepared for the unexpected. But if you got to die to take care of your family, that's probably not the business model you signed up for or they signed up for. And insurance doesn't pay off a suicide, so you're kind of stuck.
And a lot of people say that. Like, I've had a lot of people say that to me. She's worth more to me dead than alive, or
Yep.
kind of thing, right? Yeah.
And if you got the insurance check today, would you spend it all to have one more day? So why not have it while you're alive? Questions, comments, thoughts? It's a real pick-me-up topic.
Well,
A little bit of a, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to go take it back to childhood learning. But if you have something to say on this topic, Diane, go ahead.
I was just going to say it was an interesting aspect when you first started talking about that, Sean, and about the physical hereditary, about plants and animals, and it makes sense.
Well, I mean, think about it. Your dog comes in and that you like your dog makes you happy. That's energetic transformation. How many times have your dog been wagging the tail and he's tore up the garbage? You're not really happy. So it's right. The physical takes over the mental. And then it's even funnier when their head's stuck in the garbage can lid because they can't get it off. You get 1 million views on TikTok. So, yeah, we have to pay attention to the physical. I can tell you that taking a shower, even though the water it's not fresh out of a mountain stream, the water that comes to us, but standing on the rock in the shower, grounding every day, every night, 350 days out of the year is a huge blessing to get that energy. It offsets a lot of the not so good in the water, singing to the water, putting a magnet on the water, all of these different things. So very cool. But I would encourage you to speak to your food. That's what the blessing does. I would speak to your water. I'd go take a black magic marker on one of your glasses or use the whiteboard Sharpie so you can wash it off, but write love on it. Feel love and write LOVE on the glass. You'd be surprised. I promise you, you do this. You want to test? Go write love on a glass and write hate on a glass. Let them sit overnight and drink them tomorrow morning and see what if they don't taste different.
There's been tests like that done with plants,
Oh gosh, yeah.
and it's completely visible that one plant doesn't grow in the negatively infused water. I mean, water that's used and that it's just the water.
Yep.
It's remarkable.
And if we're 70% water,
Or even words. If like my son did an experiment that there was a group of them that said negative things to plant and said positive things to plant. And the negative plant, the poor thing, it ended up dying. Like, even though they gave it water and all those things.
well, because water has memory and water takes up vibration. And you say hate, the water turns into this yucky tar under at least an electron microscope. And the plant, there's nothing it can do. It can't even hydrate the plant. And if we're all water, why do you think we love kids' laughs? Why do we think we love that kid that the little baby goes, right? You're like, I just love that. It's the vibration. It's all vibration. It's all state. Steady state, 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 state. And if you have an argument, shame on you. Nobody gets you upset without your permission.
Right.
That's why we have to be aware of everything we're saying. We have to until we don't have to. But in the beginning, it's exhausting. I'm enough. I'm enough. What am I thinking? I'm loving. I love this. I love this. I love this. I'm so. I'm telling you, I have it unfair. I've got 5 dogs who are the best, and I've got 6 sheep who I get to go play with. 7. Gizmo, he comes over and he plays, and now Apollo came over and I pet him for about 45 minutes this morning. Astrid came over. She was the most timid. Bunny stands over there and goes, bah! But she'll just walk over, and she walks over and she'll scratch, and she's a teenager now. I don't want to be with the babies. Right? Okay. Any last questions, comments, thoughts?
I was going to share something that I learned in my homeschooling experience that was profound, and it's coming together now in the children's brain development. I wasn't thinking of it at the time. Then it was more of a learning thing. The difference between the female brain and the male brain, and what I had become aware of was my girls, my firstborns are female, and my last is a male. I thought my son was retarded. He couldn't do anything, or delayed, or however, polite.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do anything that my girls could do at his young age of 5.
Right. No.
Nothing. And it was it was really interesting, because it was just at that time that I was introducing music into our curriculum, because I felt that the study of music was really beneficial to the brain in critical thinking, mathematics, and all of those, and creativity. And in speaking with the music teacher, because my girls had started music at the age of 7.
Mm-hmm.
When my son became 7, the same music teacher suggested that I wait till he was 9. And I said, why would that be? And she said, well, you can it with a male brain, no matter what he's exposed to, whether he's sitting at the piano at the keys playing now at 9, he's not going to be any more advanced. However, expose him to all sorts of music, have it on all the time so he's hearing it, and by 9 he will be playing as if just like your daughters played at 9, because they advanced from 6 on. And it was absolutely true. And it was also true in teaching him. He was exposed to all of it, and that's when I developed my Trivium curriculum, because just take the interest all the way to the end, because it's always history, math, and literature, reading, writing, and arithmetic in every topic. Anyway, it was very interesting, the development of the brain. And then so I would have answered, instead of 7, I would have answered more 9, because 9 is where they go from the rote memory to actual reasoning on their own, taking and owning their thoughts, still influenced as we all are. And then there's the next quarter.
So how many moms who have 7-year-olds are you teaching that to?
None.
Keep it a secret.
Yes, you're right. And I made the call today, left a great message, haven't heard back. I realized that she's just starting the new year with getting things set up for teaching school. So
yep.
Anyway, I did make the call.
Cool.
So I just wanted to let you know that.
I love it. But now figure out a way to go talk to moms about that.
Yes.
Go look for Facebook groups. Homeschooling moms. Go answer some questions in there as somebody who's a centenarian who's got a lot of experience.
I call myself a homeschool vet.
But you're keeping
that. Yeah, you're right.
I know. Duh. Wow. It's the first time.
Nobody's ever told you that before, I know, but let me be the first.
Dubby, I'm right. I'm right, Dubby. Come here. I'm right. Say hi. Say hi.
And I realize that's also something I haven't written in my evidence. Oh, so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that.
Get to work.
Yes.
Okay. I love y'all. Go have an amazing evening.
Thank you.
Think about that. And be aware of your thoughts. You're all water. Everything you say, everything you think comes back to you. Shad Helmstetter says, everything you say, everything that's ever been said to you has been recorded in your brain. That which you repeat on a regular basis becomes permanent. It's all stored, though, in your subconscious. That's why you can talk to somebody who was in school with you and go, do you remember Mr. Miller? No, I didn't have him. What do you mean you didn't have him? We were in the same class together. No, we weren't. Yes, we were. Do you remember Connie? Yes, that was that class. Oh my God, I wouldn't even think about that. And all of a sudden the program starts to play. So words are powerful. I love y'all. I'm your head brain training, brain scrambling. Get your butt in gear, misfit. I'll see y'all where?
At the next event.
At the next event.
All right, everybody. We'll see you in the morning.
Thank you.
Love you all.
Love you all. Have a good night.
Bye for now.